So why is the vaccine safe? The one that right now Shannon has is Pfizer, so this is mRNA technology. mRNA technology is a new-ish. There's been years of study prior to actually coming out with this vaccine. COVID initiated this movement into pulling out this type of technology for vaccination. With mRNA technology, a lot of people are afraid that, oh, it's gonna affect my DNA. Actually, it's not. Interestingly, mRNA doesn't really go into the nucleus of the cell, so it doesn't really affect DNA at all. If I were to put it in simple terms, I would say that mRNA technology pretty much, it's not like creating a new assembly line inside of our body. It's just little Xerox copying machines come into our body, and what they do is they make copies of, let's put it this way, the enemy's claws. So they distribute copies around their body, and everybody's aware and are able to see that picture of the bad guy, and they're now on alert and able to recognize if it were to have a point where their body's exposed to COVID. They're able to recognize by just a picture of it. Then eventually the mRNA will disappear, and that's also part of why they're saying over time, maybe in a year, we might need to get a booster just to remember that picture of the bad guy and be able to protect ourselves. It's not something that was, you're not getting the actual virus at all, not even particles of the virus. So that makes it pretty safe. So you won't really get sick with COVID. Of course, there's some side effects to it, headache, maybe a low-grade fever, maybe muscle aches, but that's something that we actually want to see a little bit of, because again, it's that immune response. It's everybody kind of like, hey, chins up, let's go ahead and start protecting ourselves, creating immunity, and there's going to be a little bit of a reaction from the vaccine, which is expected. With COVID, and also depends on how severe it was, we don't really have a way to measure how much protection or how long your immunity will last after having the infection. As the time has gone by, we have seen that patients who had COVID early last year have lost their immunity, and there's even some rate of reinfection. There's also new variants that are around the world, and as COVID arrived eventually to San Angelo, we're expecting those new variants to arrive. And so for mRNA technology, vaccines like Pfizer have proven to be effective against this new variant. So you don't want to get COVID twice. So yeah, for sure you want to get your vaccine. And also if you had COVID, once your symptoms have resolved, you're safe to get your vaccine. So you don't really need to wait that long. Another good reason to get vaccinated is to protect the other populations that might be more susceptible. So if you're 16 years old, 17 years old, you're completely healthy, but you still have, contact with maybe a teacher that might be older or at higher risk, your grandparents, your parents, maybe even a sibling, a child who has a chronic illness and they're still not a candidate to get a vaccine, it is your responsibility to protect them since you actually can't get the vaccine. It's a community responsibility to our loved ones. There's also a little bit of a scary part is we're receiving some reports of this new variant, especially in India, and unfortunately that new variant is affecting younger, healthier populations. And we see that with viruses, viruses mutate, they do that. So we are hoping by the time that variant comes in town, we have all of our younger, healthier adults vaccinated as well, and try to prevent them from getting sick. And again, we're at an ideal point and situation here in San Angelo that many other communities and countries don't have the availability of a vaccine that you can just walk in and ask for it and get your shot. And again, that right now the infection rate is quite low, so it's a great time to get your vaccines. Yeah.